Furious Driving, proud to be supported by Diamond Bright, protecting, cleaning and caring for the Furious fleet and for yours, with 10% off using code FD10. Follow the links in the description below.
Hello and welcome to Furious Driving. And today I'm in one of my favourite little cars you're ever going to come across. This is an Austin 7. Quite a rare one at that. This is a 1930 Millwood fabric body 7. Pretty car. If you like reviews of interesting, unusual, classic, retro and just different cars, then please do hit like and definitely hit subscribe. As you can probably tell, it's a little bit cramped. I've not got room for my arm. The chair doesn't go back far enough for my legs. And I'm hugging the steering wheel. Later cars were a little bit easier. Choke in a bit, here we go. The steering is a tad on the wandery side. We have got the most basic dashboard I think I've ever seen. A couple of brass instruments that could equally have served on a steamship. Doing 30 miles an hour and it feels an awful lot faster, it has to be said. Our amp meter, that's quite important, and our oil pressure. No fuel gauge.
Which wasn't uncommon in pre-war cars.
We do, however, have a couple of nice little cubby holes left and right. A curious thing about this particular car is the gearbox arrangement. In the 1930s, things weren't really 100% sorted out. So imagine an H pattern 4-speed. To get first gear, you need to go into fourth, or where you imagine fourth to be. To get second, you go up and across into where you'd imagine first to be. So diagonally across to the left, and then to get third, straight back into where second would have been. Reverse is where third is on the H pattern. It makes a lot more sense when you're actually driving it. We have got headlights and a single tail light, but we haven't got indicators and we haven't got a brake light. So luckily it's a nice quiet road around here, no one's following. Pedals are absolutely tiny. Luckily I'm wearing some fairly narrow boots because I think I'll be able to change gear otherwise. I'm looking for something to turn around, but not succeeding. Now I don't want to stall it because there's no start. Oh, bloody, I'm no brakes. No, seriously, no brakes. There's no starter on this. If I stall it, I've got to get out and start it. Oops, there's the horn again. Box, a little bit of dancing on the pedals. And the handbrake actually gets in the way of first gear, so you have to put it into gear before you set off. My GoPro on the bonnet, which was looking at the temperature gauge, disappearing. I think it's safe to say the scariest part of this car, is the brakes, because there really aren't any. Wow, stand them and then nothing happens. Oops, whoopsie-daisy. We do of course have a horn in the centre of the button to horn test. temperature gauge is over there on the end of the bonnet, although we do have the mod con of an electric wiper. Oh yeah, it does work. Not the briskest of things. And if you'd like to know more about Austin 7s, then do hit the link to this previous Austin 7 video, which talks a lot more about the history of the model and where it came from. That was a later model which had synchro mesh on the gears. This though, being a 33, is a crash box, so you have to double declutch. Take it steady. I absolutely adore these cars. They're one of my all-time favourite vehicles. One of the cars that put motoring on the map, made it a thing that the masses could do. And it's such a beautiful design, nicely proportioned, elegant looking, but at the same time, it's hit by the wind just there. At the same time, it's very simply designed, very economical with components and things. Very, very clever. Wipers aren't self-parking, it turns out. But this is the thing with Austin 7s. We're doing 35 miles an hour, and I'm planning ahead for that junction over there. You have to have your wits so about you because the brakes are appalling, the handling is terrifying. Oh, gosh. The pedals are so tiny when I brake, I hit the accelerator as well if I'm not careful. Okay. I hoot every time I turn the wheel.
Otherwise, there's not enough torque and it just bogs down.
Then it's quite happy. Now, do you remember I said I didn't want to stall it? Well, this is why. It's easy to do, but it's not guaranteed.
The 7 used a cast iron cylinder block with removable cylinder heads, which made machining much easier and cheaper, even though it meant more parts to assemble. There's a 2.5 inch bore with a 3 inch stroke, that's 56 and 76mm in new money, and it gave 747cc. The RAC's wonky horsepower rating was 7.8 HP or 7 horsepower, hence the name, which is for the road fund licence, which is sitting just below the next tax level, and it kept it inside the limit for international 750cc competition events, motorsport being a big consideration in the early days of motoring.
And of course you've got the matching pea shooter exhaust at the back. It's so cute, I love it. The only thing that's really oversized on this car is the wheels, the 19-inch rims. There are no moans about low profile tyres on these things.
There were a multitude of body styles, open and closed, mostly steel skinned, but this one is a fabric bodied car. That means they used a similar technique to World War I aircraft, not surprising as it was created by an aircraft engineer and racing driver called Gordon England. The body has a wooden frame covered in Rexine, a special cloth stretched tight over the frame and treated with cellulose and castor oil. They were built under contract by Gordon England's coach building company from May 1926, who also built aluminium Austin 7 bodies as a means to fulfil growing demand for saloons. They were sometimes called the Doctor's Saloon. They weigh 13 kilograms less than a metal-bodied car, great for performance, but cost £210, a heavy premium over a steel car, as they only cost £165 when they were launched. The style was popular in the 20s but fell out of fashion as the 1930s progressed, and despite being a popular choice, the nature of the materials and the low value of old cars in the middle of the 20th century, there is barely a 1% survival rate of the rag-body cars.
If you enjoyed this ride out in this Austin 7, then please do hit like and subscribe, hit the bell notification for next time, and join me again next time driving something completely different.